Every gym bro does wrist curls, 3 sets of 12 twice a week, wondering why their forearms won't grow. 19th century blacksmiths never did a single rep of isolation work, yet photographs and historical records show forearms that rivaled modern strength athletes. They discovered something about forearm development that we completely forgot. And when you look at who has the best forearms today, you'll see they're accidentally doing the exact same thing. Let's talk about what a blacksmith's day actually looked like, because it wasn't what most people imagine. A working blacksmith would strike the hammer thousands of times in a single day, but the hammering was only part of it. They spent hours holding tongs, gripping pieces of iron weighing anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds at awkward angles, positioning metal on the anvil, holding it steady while working, each hold lasting 15 to 45 seconds before rotating the piece and holding again. Then there was the bellows work, rhythmic pulling motions to keep the forge at temperature, carrying irregular pieces of iron and finished tools, bending and twisting hot metal into shape. 8 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week, year after year. Here's what matters. They weren't lifting heavy. Most of what they manipulated weighed between 2 and 20 pounds. The hammer itself rarely exceeded 3 pounds. So how did moderate loads build exceptional forearm development? The answer is in the pattern and the volume, 2 things modern training completely ignores. Let's break down exactly what movements blacksmiths performed every single day and what exercises actually replicate them. Pattern 1. Hammering. Thousands of hammer strikes daily. This is repeated wrist extension and flexion, combined with pronation and supination rotation. Your forearm is rotating as you bring the hammer down and recover. It's not just up and down, there's a twisting component. So what replicates this? Sledgehammer tire strikes are the most authentic recreation. Wrist roller extensions done for high reps work too. Light hammer curls with deliberate rotation on each rep. The key is volume, not 3 sets of 12. We're talking hundreds of reps per session. Pattern 2. Tong grip work. This is where blacksmiths built insane grip strength. Holding tongs wasn't like holding a barbell. The weight was offset, the angles were awkward, and you had to adjust your grip constantly. Hundreds of holds throughout the day, at different angles, with different hand positions. You can replicate this with thick grip dead hangs, where you vary your wrist angle. Plate pinches held at different positions, and bottoms-up kettlebell holds also work your forearms greatly. The awkward angles are crucial. Your forearms had to stabilize from every position, not just the comfortable one. Pattern 3. Bellows pumping. Rhythmic pulling with sustained grip engagement. This was elbow-driven, but required constant forearm tension to maintain grip throughout the movement. Fat grip cable rows for high reps with moderate weight replicate this. So do towel pull-ups and rope climbs if you have access. This pattern built endurance in the grip muscles, something most people never train. Pattern 4. Twisting and bending. Working hot iron required serious rotational strength, pronation and supination under load, forcing the forearm muscles to control the movement. Wrist roller in both directions captures this. Sledgehammer rotations work, even towel wringing motions replicate the pattern. This is the movement most modern programs completely skip, and it's critical for full forearm development. Pattern 5. Carrying and positioning. Blacksmiths constantly moved irregular objects, finished pieces, raw iron stock, tools. Nothing had a convenient handle. Thick grip farmer carries replicate this. Sandbag holds and uneven dumbbell walks where the weight isn't balanced. The irregularity forces your forearms to work as stabilizers, not just flexors. Here's what you need to understand about these patterns. Your forearms aren't like your chest or biceps. They're built differently at the muscle fiber level. The forearm muscles are dominated by slow twitch fibers, the kind designed for endurance and repetitive work, not maximum force production. This means they respond to completely different training than what builds your arms or legs. High repetitions, high frequency, extended time under tension. Blacksmiths were doing this naturally, 6+ hours of forearm work daily, 6 days a week. Here's the practical takeaway right now. Your forearms need to be trained almost daily, not once or twice a week. That's the single biggest thing modern programs get wrong. We'll cover the exact protocol in a few minutes, but lock that in. Frequency is everything. Want to know who has the best forearms in modern athletics? Rock climbers, gymnasts, and arm wrestlers. Notice what they have in common. They all train forearms nearly every day with high volume, varied grips, and extended time under tension. They're accidentally following the blacksmith protocol without knowing it. A competitive climber might spend 10 to 15 hours per week hanging from holds at awkward angles, carrying their body weight through different grip positions. Gymnasts spend similar time on rings, bars, and rope work. Meanwhile, bodybuilders do wrist curls twice a week and wonder why their forearms don't match their biceps. The pattern is undeniable. Blacksmiths and modern grip athletes stumbled into the perfect protocol because they combined isometric and dynamic work. Blacksmiths were doing both constantly, holding, isometric, and hammering, dynamic. This trains the muscle through its full functional capacity. Modern programs typically focus on one or the other, never both in the same session, let alone the same day. Natural grip variation prevented overuse injuries. Because the work demanded different grip positions constantly, blacksmiths naturally avoided the repetitive strain injuries that plague modern gym goers who do the same wrist curl variation over and over. If you're finding value in this, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I've got more unconventional training methods coming that'll change how you think about building strength. This is what modern training gets wrong. The standard advice for forearm training is completely inadequate. Most programs recommend 3 sets of 12 wrist curls, maybe some reverse curls, 2 times per week. Blacksmiths trained their forearms essentially all day, 6 days a week. Even if we're conservative and say 4 hours of actual intense forearm work per day, that's 24 hours weekly. And if you're doing 20 to 30 minutes weekly, you're not undertrained by a little bit. You're doing less than 2% of the volume that built exceptional forearms historically. Here's the other problem: exercise variety. Wrist curls have their place, but they represent a tiny fraction of what your forearms can actually do. You're training flexion in one plane with a comfortable grip angle. Meanwhile, blacksmiths trained flexion, extension, pronation, supination, isometric holds, dynamic movements at awkward angles with irregular objects. Your forearms are designed for variety. When you only give them wrist curls, they adapt just enough to handle wrist curls and nothing more. The final issue: load obsession. Everyone wants to curl heavier weight. Blacksmiths weren't working with heavy loads. They were working with moderate loads for massive volume. A 3-pound hammer swung thousands of times builds more forearm mass than a 50-pound barbell curled 36 times per week. Volume, frequency, variety. That's what we forgot. So how do you actually apply this without quitting your job to become a blacksmith? Here's the protocol. Daily forearm training with 3 movement categories. Your forearms can handle and need training 6 days per week. You'll rotate through 3 types of days, doing 2 days of each per week. Rotate through these 3 days and structure your week like this: ABC, ABC, rest. The 3 non-negotiables. 1. Change your grip constantly. Different angles, different positions. Never let your forearms get comfortable. 2. Use thick grip attachments. Use fat grips or wrap towels around handles. Blacksmith tools didn't have ergonomic handles, neither should yours. 3. Start conservative. If you're currently doing wrist curls twice a week, jumping to this protocol will wreck you. Start with 4 days per week, half the volume. Build up over 4 to 6 weeks. If you want a structured and complete 12-week program, instead of figuring it out yourself, that's exactly what No Gym Warrior does. It's the training program based on how warriors and laborers throughout history actually built strength. 0 equipment required, progressive overload built in, takes 35 to 50 minutes a day, 4 days per week. Links in the description, lifetime access. 19th century blacksmiths built exceptional forearms without ever stepping into a gym, without isolation exercises, without programming. They just worked. High volume, high frequency, constant variety, moderate loads. Modern grip athletes, climbers, gymnasts, arm wrestlers discovered the same protocol through their sport. But most people will keep doing 3 sets of wrist curls twice a week and wondering why their forearms won't grow. You have a choice. Keep doing what everyone else does and get what everyone else gets. Or apply what blacksmiths knew 200 years ago and what elite grip athletes prove works today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.